Welcome to the Canes Corner podcast. I am Adam Gold. 1 minute early. How about that? Well, that was interesting. 3-2 Hurricanes win. And I think we could all agree kind of got away with it. Maybe saved by Frederik Andersen, right? So we're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina, the exterior of your home. You can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Did you hear me? No place like it. Sammy Hanna's crew do a great job, and um, you should go check them out online. Aluminumcompany.com. Well, that was certainly a lot of fun. I thought the Hurricanes tried a different strategy. Rope a dope in the third period. Frederik Andersen doing the whole thing in the third. Weird game. Let's kind of go through it bit by bit. Not in terms of specifics, but in terms of how it looked. I thought Carolina was the better team. I loved Carolina's start. Thought the first 15 minutes they were really good. And maybe could have had another goal, but they weren't particularly dangerous in front of goal, if you will. But I thought Carolina, really controlled the play, and then the Natchez giveaway to Sean Couturier, which led to the Owen Tippett goal, just completely flipped everything. From that point on, I thought Carolina was defending, killing penalties, and letting Frederik Andersen do a lot of work. And that's not a good strategy after we watch the end of the first period. Again, I've said this already so many times. Rod didn't like the first goal. It didn't bother me. I thought the first goal was kind of a fluke. Owen Tippett doesn't get really anything on the shot, but you're expecting that shot to be much harder, and then it just kind of floats over Andersen. I mean, if he knows it's going to be a floater, he gets it easily. But it's just one of those things that fool you. So he didn't get it. It's the second goal, the Garnet Hathaway goal, that was a mistake on a lot of different levels, but it's a bad goal. I mean, you're going down. Hathaway's got nothing. If you have your stick on the ice in front of you, it's not a goal. But Frederik Andersen's stick might as well been in the locker room. He's just float, waving it out here and doing nothing with it. So it's 2-1 after I think Carolina played a pretty good first period. Second period, Carolina was in the penalty box, three times? Three times in the penalty box in the second period. The kill was very good. Third Flyers power play toward the latter stages of the second period generated some chances. But for the most part, I thought Carolina's penalty kill was the star tonight, and Andersen had to make a couple of saves, nothing spectacular. First two Flyers power plays did not generate even a shot attempt. Carolina had the only shot attempt in the first two power plays, and that was the Sebastian Aho shorthanded try. But Carolina really couldn't get much going, but they got their own power play. Michael Bunting draws it, I think was interference. And after the first unit, I thought was pretty good. They didn't score, but had the puck. Halfway through, we flip. Jesperi Kotkaniemi takes a offensive zone faceoff to the left of Carter Hart. He sort of wins it. It's more neutral. Nason sweeps in, grabs the puck, slides it over to Michael Bunting. They didn't waste any time, and he deposited just inside of the right post, and it's 2-2. Feel pretty good. And the third period started, and you don't feel so good because Philadelphia is just tilting the ice in front of you. And over the first, I think I tweeted this out with about 6 minutes to go. Philadelphia had 10 grade A scoring chances in the first 10 minutes of the third period. At one point, they had a 6-1 edge in third period shots. Carolina is usually the better team in third periods, but they were not tonight. And they were fortunate, very fortunate, that Frederik Andersen, whatever he was missing in the first, he had in the third, because Andersen was the difference in this game when we got to the third period. So, good win. And again, kinda, if you're looking for underlying reasons for optimism, the fact that Anderson became the story in a positive way in the 3rd period is not only good for the game, 'cause you lose the game if he's not playing well, and he was dynamite. So, that's, I guess, the first and foremost thing, right? You won the game because of Anderson. But for Carolina's confidence in their goaltending, that Anderson could be up to the task after a slow start and keep them in the game. It's just absolutely enormous. There weren't a ton of great performances, and we'll get to that. But we will go through the goals. We'll talk about the good. We'll talk about the bad. And we'll, as always, try to go through some comments. Shouts to our friends in Adelaide, where right now it is just after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. My guess is nice, really nice. What is it? Spring day, right? Nice spring, mid-spring afternoon. I have no idea what if you have a daytime temperature in Adelaide, I'll take it. It's right now 10:30 in the morning, roughly in Perth. I'd also take a daytime temperature there. And in what Gong Boo something? I don't know where you are. Anyway, shout to our friends down under. Um, So, let's go through the goals real quick, and then we'll kinda browse, through this. The first goal, and you've heard me say this before, I think Carolina's got this is an opportunity part of the season. Teuvo Teravainen's opportunity when Andrei Svechnikov was out to cement himself in the top 6. I think he's done it. 8 goals. He's selfish. He's now a selfish player, just 1 assist, but 8 goals on the season. It's just amazing. He had 12 all of last year. He's got 8 already this year. But so it was his opportunity to cement himself in the top 6, and he's done it. Jack Drury, and I think that line was probably Carolina's best in the first period. Svechnikov, Drury, Nason created the first goal. Obviously, Nason scores it with a nice individual play. Svechnikov gets in the puck, but I think all 3 guys contributed to a puck retrieval, and it was right after Anderson made a really nice save on Hathaway to keep it scoreless, and it goes the other way, same 5 guys are on the ice. And Drury, with a couple of good puck retrievals, hounding the puck, doing what he's supposed to do, anything he can do to stay in the lineup. Remember, he fought not that long ago. And Drury, while didn't get a point, I thought contributed to the goal. So 1-0 Carolina. And then, of course, the mistake by Necas to give the puck to Sean Couturier with about 5 minutes left in the period kind of flipped it. But then in the second period, when Carolina's down 2-1, it's Drury's side of the goal who, pots the rebound. Unfortunately, Carolina was completely was offside before when they entered the zone, so that goal was chalked off after they went to video. So, but it didn't deter Carolina from getting the lead when they finally get a power play, won all game. I'm not gonna complain, whatever, it is what it is. Um, Michael Bunting draws the power play, Michael Bunting scores the goal, Carolina gets even, and it's 2-2. So, I still think Carolina's been playing pretty well in spite of the fact that they've had to kill a lot of penalties, but the penalty kill was great, and sometimes when your penalty kill is great, it just makes everything look better. I've seen an entire road trip won because Carolina's penalty kill was playing at an elite level. And tonight, even though it has been a big problem for them over the course of the season, Philadelphia's power play is trash right now. So Carolina probably takes advantage of the fact the Flyers aren't any good right now, and the power play don't have any confidence. So good for them. Take advantage of it, and you go 5 for 5 on the penalty kill. But it's 2-2. Then we get to the 3rd period, and the ice tilts in front of Freddie, and that's when Anderson puts on the show. Nobody saw that coming, but it was good to see because Carolina desperately needed Anderson to save them because it was apparent to me that Carolina didn't wanna save themselves. So, um, that's the good, right? That's as much of the good as I can remember. Um, you don't want to make a habit of asking your goaltender to do that, but again, the confidence that your goaltender can. Ronta played really well against San Jose, but that's sort of like playing it well against a minor league team at this point, because San Jose is a shell of themselves. But Anderson, after a tough first period, was great, and I would anticipate we will see Anderson on Thursday at Madison Square Garden, and probably on Long Island on Saturday, right? Probably. So the I mean, it was not a game that ever looked like a win to Rod Brindamore. And to go back, what something that he said, the Hurricanes were better in Tampa in a loss. That Tampa loss, or the way they played, led to the Seattle win, which allowed them to play one good period against San Jose and then basically shut it down. And now we're on the road again. And Carolina's schedule, man, no, not friendly at all. I mean, yeah, the State Fair road trip, and normally, you do the State Fair road trip and then come home, play a few home games, but 2 home games and then back on the road again, and I think they come home for 1 more home game, then they're back on the road again. So, it is what it is, but, that's the Hurricanes' schedule, 11 of their first 15 on the road, but if you have a halfway decent, record when that happens, maybe you can get some home cooking. So the Hurricanes, remember when they were 3 and 4, they are now 6 and 4 after their 3rd straight win. All right. So here's what jumped out to me about the way Rod Brindamore messed with his lines in the 3rd period. Martin, Stephanie, and Jack Drury all did not play the last minutes. I think it was about the last 6 minutes. Um, Nature struggled tonight. I mean, he had one glorious scoring chance, but he basically struggled tonight. He struggled managing the puck and managing the puck, especially in the neutral zone. Nature's mistake leads to the first goal. But there were other weird moments for him. And Rod, I think, had seen enough. And he bumped Andre up to the top line with Aho and Jarvis. He put Teravainen in Svechnikov's play or in Nature's place on the second line with Kokaniemi and Bunting. And he dropped Natchez down to the line with Nason and Drury. The Stahl, Martinook, Foss trio stayed together as always. Also, Tony DeAngelo didn't play the last 5 or 6 minutes. Not sure why that was. I didn't notice that Tony played a poor game, but I think in the end of the game, Carolina Rod's going to trust the guys he knows are defensively oriented, if you will. Carolina had a good night in the faceoff circle, 71% effective. They still won the shots battle, but they won that mostly early. But I think maybe the most impressive thing for the Hurricanes was probably the last 3 minutes of the game. Philly's trying to get Carter Hart off the ice. They're trying to get Carter Hart off the ice. Couldn't do it. Could not do it. And they end up possessing the puck inside the Philly zone the entire time, and that's that. It was truly remarkable. Um, and maybe they had all the energy pent up because they didn't do much in the first 15 minutes of the period. I don't know. It was it was an atypical Carolina Hurricanes performance when you get right down to it. It really was not it was not the way Rod draws it up. You could tell after the game that he was not thrilled by it all, but the Hurricanes still come out with a win. And I think in many ways there was enough good in it where Rod's going to judge this team based on what he sees in his brain. And I think I'll bet when they watch it, he'll find enough good in it to kind of make up for the fact that it wasn't the way he draws it up. All right. Let's see if we can't go through some questions here. And I will do the look. All right. From JT, would have been nice to watch the game I paid for. The Bally Zap was not good. Bally Zap, I think if you went to the page, you found out that the Bally's app had some sort of a power outage or a server something, and yes. So if you watch the game on the app, as many of us do, you didn't get a chance to see it. I'll just leave it at that. Um, it's frustrating for everybody. Hopefully, Bally's will get fixed by Thursday. All right. Matt, you're welcome. We like doing this, and we should we should always like doing this. What do you think the difference really was in the game? Penalty kill or Anderson? Yes. I mean, in the 3rd period, that's the same. There were 4 shots on goal in the 3rd period power play and 3 shots on goal in the late 2nd period power play. It was Anderson's best work of the night. Best work of the night was Anderson. If you believe in the statistics of this nature, the the Anderson uh, expected goals against was nearly 4 because of the power play, and the goals against was only 2. It's funny because Anderson's, I mean, if you determine that the first 2 goals are bad, the fact that Anderson only allowed 2 goals is amazing because I guess they were high danger chances because they were so close to the net, but they're obviously not good goals to allow. But Anderson really stood on his ears in the, late 2nd period, and it all throughout the entire 3rd period, and then he didn't have to do anything after the Teravainen goal. Really never recovered from that. I'm not even sure they had possession of the puck for more than a couple of seconds after that, after the Teravainen goal made it 3-2. So, Ryan, is in, what, Tacoma from the West Coast? With the success Canes found with an emotional support alligator in the building tonight, how soon will we see it at PNC? All right, somebody's gonna have to fill me in on the emotional support alligator. I have no idea, but, that's fantastic. Yes, I know there's a lot of people that don't like the Bally's app. Uh, you know, I'm not apologizing for it. Um, I also watch the game on Bally's. So I'll just leave it at, that. Love Slavin, but wouldn't put it. I don't know what top 5 for the start. I don't know what that means. If you are we saying bad things about Jacob Slavin? S- Blasphemy, blasphemy. From Kane's stats brand, Freddie's save percentage by period: first 841, second 935, third and overtime 902. Oh, okay, after I mean, this is overall for the course of the year after the first period. Um, I it's too early to use save percentage. I thought Anderson's first 2 starts this year, I thought Anderson was actually good. Maybe he allowed 1 bad goal. I think his team in front of him was terrible, and I thought Freddie was pretty good in the first 2 games he played. In the 3rd game he played, he takes the puck off the mask, and he's gotta come out. I guess that was against Anaheim, right? And, Ronta comes in after that, and Carolina didn't win the game. I might have the game wrong, but anyway, I didn't have a problem. I thought Freddie was good in those games. So I'm not paying attention to, whatever Freddie Anderson's save percentage was, um, at the beginning of the season. I mean, I know it all evens out, and by the end of the season, I'm sure his save percentages and all those things will look, pretty good. I do not have any word on Jordan Martinook, who took a puck to the mouth, I guess, at the very end of the game. Um, but, hopefully he'll be okay. He might he need dental work? He might. I don't know. I really, I have not received any word. If I do, I will pass it along. Um, Jarvis, Aho, and Svechnikov were reunited tonight. Do you think that line would be better suited to have Taylor on the wing and reunite SAT line? They could do that. I would point out, we all want SAT to be a thing, but you know what SAT line has never done? They've never scored, basically. They don't. If you go back and you look at all the times Svechnikov, Aho, and Teravainen have been together, it just doesn't score. So we all want to try it. Rod wants to try it, but then Rod tries it and it isn't effective, so he breaks it up. Um, to me, it's just a goof that it hasn't worked. But would I like to see it? I would like to see it at some point. I really would. Um, but we'll see. I have no idea what they're going to do. Do you think they would trade Pesci for a center or Orlov? I don't think they'd trade either. Um, I think they're gonna ride through this season with the team that they've got. I think they are building cap space. I think they are more likely to acquire a center or another forward, during the season for futures, middling prospects, depending on what they need, what they feel like they need at some point during the year. I think the beginning of this season is a really a test run for if Jack Drury can be a center on a 3rd scoring line. Because ultimately, Carolina's got more top 6 forwards than they have spots for top 6 forwards. And because of all of that, I think the Hurricanes desperately need a, um they have to find out if Jack Drury can be a center on a scoring line, because I think Martinook, Stahl, and Fost will ultimately be their checking line. If you want to call it a 4th line, fine. Rod's not gonna treat it like a 4th line. Tonight, they all played about 17 minutes in the game. Let me get ice times here very quickly. Stahl played 17 and a half minutes. Martinook played, just under 16. Played 16. They basically played like a second line. Carolina's ice time was pretty well spread out. Aho played 18 and a half minutes. Teravainen played only just under 14 minutes, and I think Jarvis played 17 minutes. I don't know that Carolina's forwards were awesome tonight, right? I thought they were sporadic. Aho was probably one of their best. But again, not very threatening in any way, shape, or form. Carolina only had about 10 grade A scoring chances for the entire game, 8 actually in all situations the entire game, and scored 3 goals. Carolina's expected goals was only 2.5, and they scored 3. So there weren't a ton, wasn't a ton of danger tonight for Carolina. And again, only 1 power play might have something to do with it. Killing off 5 Philadelphia penalties has something to do with it as well. But if Jack Drury can demonstrate that he can play center on a scoring line, then they're inclined to keep Jack. And if they have to strengthen their team in another way, hey, it ain't out of the realm of possibility that Carolina finds themselves in need of a goalie when we get down to the second half of the year. Whether it's injury or I mean, it hasn't all been great. Fyodor Kochetkov has been okay. Antti Raanta, who played well against San Jose, has been, uh, right? And Freddie, first 2 goals tonight, certainly the second goal can't happen. First goal, again, I'm gonna give him a pass. But when I said a couple of weeks or a week ago or so, what is Carolina's biggest problem? And I said goaltending. It wasn't that they were letting in a ton of bad goals, although Ronta did and Freddie did tonight. It was that they weren't getting enough big saves. Well, Freddie did that tonight. Freddie got them a bunch of big saves tonight. So maybe that'll flip it, but everything is on the table for what this team might need. And then again, you also don't know who gets hurt. Hey, could they go get themselves that bona fide scorer in the second half of the year, and then you have to figure out the center position? You can always move Teravainen back there. I don't think they want to, but you can always do that. So again, opportunity for Drury is sitting right there for him. Um, all right, let's see if we can't go through a couple of more questions before we wrap this up. Who would my 3 stars for the month of October be? Teuvo Teravainen. Teuvo Teravainen. Actually, Teuvo Teravainen, Seth Jarvis, and Jake Slavin would be my 3 stars of the month. Teuvo is the 1st star, Jarvis the 2nd star, Slavin the 3rd star. Slavin would almost always be the 1st star, and he's got a lot of points, right? He's getting all those points, but he's made uncharacteristic, poor defensive decisions. As a matter of fact, we can even slide Brady Shea in for Jacob Slavin, and I don't think anybody would complain. I think Shea's been very, very, very good. Um, it's been nearly a year, Michael says. Perhaps the jury audition has lasted long enough. I am not gonna argue against you, Michael. I kind of agree. I will say this, if Vasily Ponomarev didn't get hurt the first day of training camp, we might be watching him play instead of Drury. When he gets healthy, maybe we will be watching Vasily Ponomarev play in the middle. It's very possible. Um, is it likely? I don't know, but it's very possible that we will be watching a Vasily Ponomarev at some point this year. Yes, Michael is also right. Yes, Barry Kotkaniemi has been good. He's been very good. But we can only choose 3, right? 2 best forwards have been Teravainen and Jarvis, and, either Shea or Slavin, who for the most part's been good, but uncharacteristic poor decisions or poor play in his defensive end cost them against, which were the goals? The goal in Colorado, the, Frederick Olofsson goal that, tied the game at 3 after Carolina had gone ahead 3-2, and then, it was the game in Tampa where he just fell asleep on the 2nd goal and let Alex Barré-Boulet stay all alone at the side of the net to score the goal that made it 2-0. But Slavin is Slavin, so he's gonna be fine. All right, so, with all of that said, we'll do this again on Thursday night. Appreciate your time. Sorry about Bally's. It isn't my, it's above my pay grade. I have nothing to do with Bally's. I hope it all gets cleared up. So I also can watch on the Bally's app. Ridiculous. I get it. Until Thursday. I'm Adam Gold. This has been the Canes Corner podcast brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. There is no place like it. Sammy and his crew do a great job. So check us out or check them out. Although I feel like family, so check them out online, aluminumcompany.com. Canes Corner podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. We're here live on YouTube after every Hurricanes game. And also, if you miss it, you can always just subscribe to the podcast or wherever you get your podcast. I get mine through Apple. I listen to a lot of podcasts, get them all through Apple, but some people use Spotify, some people use Google Play, and some people use, I don't know, a podcast machine. I'm not sure. But it's always there, and it's here for you. I hope you have a good time. Hope and the Hurricanes gave you a win tonight, even though they were a little questionable, and that's okay. 6-4 on the season, 8th straight win over Philly, and until we convene again when the Hurricanes take on and hopefully beat the Rangers, I am Adam, and you have a good night.